Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Old Fiddles, New Life. As we continue work on the little quarter-size violin that I introduced last time, all the parts came in, and so I'm going to just turn this camera around and show you what we're going to be dealing with here, and some of the work that we're going to have to do to get this thing ready to go. All right, let me get this around. Okay, to begin with, I have some Tomastic quarter-size strings. Tomastic is a long, they've been around forever, and pretty good strings. These are some synthetics with the steel E, and they call them Alpha U. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's probably a new little sub brand or whatever, what they call the quarter-size strings. Anyway, so about a brand new set of these. And these are set up with the ball end on them. And if you look at, I'll show you this in a minute. When you look at the tailpiece that goes with this, you see those little hooks. This is each one of these. This is E, A, D, G. Okay, each one of these has where you put that little ball down in between the hooks, and that's what grabs onto the string and holds it tight. And each one of these is a tuner. And I'll talk about these when I get ready to put them on. But anyway, you want to make sure whenever you're ordering strings, they'll ask you, do you want loop ends or ball ends? And for this particular tuner, and especially with a student instrument, we've gone with ball ends. So I'll show you those when I get this unpacked. The other thing that I ordered was some Siberian bow hair. This ain't cheap. This is good stuff. I got 2 packages of the stuff. Really good quality. There it is. And 1 hank of this is way more than I need to do that one little quarter-size bow. But hey, you got to get it. You got to get it. So anyway, the total on these, and just the strings and the bow hair and the shipping, was $39. It ain't cheap. But in this case, it's going to be my instrument loaned out to my grandson, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I've got to do it. So, all right. Well, I'll get to this in just a minute when I get things set up. But that's what we're working with. One more thing before I go. I was going to look into the idea of doing a new set of pegs. These actually fit pretty well, and so I think I'm going to keep them. And in the meantime, I got out my peg dope that I'm going to be doing each one of the pegs with, treating it before it all gets set up. I was concerned that my ream, which this is a ream that's for a violin, for working on violins. This is a ream that you use to shape the inside of your peg holes, and it's specifically tapered for peg holes. And it does a beautiful job cutting. This thing, I've had it for many years, and it cuts as sweet today as it did back when I got it. I was thinking that it may be too large for these little peg holes, and I was wrong. This actually fits very nicely in them, and if I needed to do any very careful reaming on the holes just to round them out, I think the D string, the A string is a little bit, let's put it this way, a little bit out of round, and I may have to use that a little bit. But you got to be careful, because if you use it too much at all, your peg goes in too far, and then you've kind of defeated the whole purpose. So anyway, I don't want to order a brand new set of pegs, so we're going to try to make these ones work. Okay, so here we go with the unboxing. I've had many sets of Tomastic over the years, but this is the first time I've ever strung up a quarter-size violin, and it'll be interesting. Obviously, they're set up pretty much, well, it's set up the same way every violin is, but it's going to be interesting to see how tiny the strings are. So anyway, so there's A, and there's E. Let's get out the G, there's the D. All right, so let's take a look. As I mentioned before, these are ball end, and there they are. You know, if you see the little ball there, and when you have a tailpiece that's set up for ball end, that's all you want to ever buy, and you just insert in down there. These are going to be a little bit sticky at first because the threading around, I don't know if you can see this, the threading around here is thick, and it's intended to be protective of the string so it doesn't wear through and so forth with time. But it also makes it a little bit more difficult to get it through the little hooks there. But there it's done. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, yeah, that's in. And so what I'm going to do is set this up, get this tailpiece on the instrument, and I'll be back in a minute when I get all these in place. Okay, so here's a problem that develops as tuning pegs wear in over time. We're working here with the A. I've already got the G and the D in place, and even the E. But what happens is, over time, as that tuning peg works its way further and further into the hole because of just wear. I don't know if you, yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can get it in the light here. Okay, do you see where that hole is? It is right inside the cheek, right at the cheek. Well, you can't have that, which means that what I've got to do is drill another hole further in. Well, you can see it really well right there. I've got to drill another hole further in so that the string can go through it without jamming into the cheek. By the way, these are called the cheeks, the sides of the scroll, or the peg box. This whole thing is referred to as the peg box. Here's a scroll. But anyway, yeah, that's a problem. And so I'm going to have to stop and take a few minutes and get out my drill and re-drill a tiny, tiny hole so that the A can go through there and be wound on properly. And yeah, I'm making progress. All of a sudden I said, well, that happens. You can see what's happened over time. When pegs are initially set up, they're set up so that the end of the peg comes virtually flush with the outside of the peg box, or with the outside of the cheek. The problem is that with time, as I said, it wears in, it starts going further and further in. Now, this is set up as a student instrument. Normally, when you do this, I mean, there's great care is taken to round those ends off a little bit so they're almost like a little dome. Not a big dome, but, you know, just nicely rounded off. Well, these are just pretty much cut flat because they're set up for, you know, student use. They're not going to be taking the time that you would with a really nice old German Strat or something like that. So anyway, so we've got to take a few minutes here and re-drill a hole further in, and then we'll finish setting this up. Well, guys, my little quarter-size violin is all back together, and everything's working properly. I've got it tuned up initially, but its strings are still stretching. So I'm going to wait till morning to do one last tuning. One of the things I don't like, and I mean, it's just, I'm being just real picky, is that when I did the new hole, because of the way the strings wrap on, this doesn't go straight on in. Like if the hole was over here further, it would go straight in, but that's just me being really picky. No, everything's working perfectly. I got the newly refurbished chin rest on. Everything is nice and tightened up. And basically, we've got a nice little quarter-size violin. Very, very functional. And I may even get picky and get out some varnish and do some touch-up on some of these chips. Although it's kind of a losing battle, I'm afraid that just about any time this thing gets bumped, it's going to start chipping. Anyway, hey, nice little quarter-size violin for 25 bucks. And by the way, you notice in the last video I did, it was, I said 35, and then I said 25. Oh, I checked, it was 25, not 35. And not bad for 25 bucks, you know? So some strings, and let's see what it just basically strings refitting the nice little chin rest here, and that was about it. Yeah, just strings and a whole lot of cleaning. Oh dear, she's come a long way. So we're gonna let it go for right now on the violin. My next project, and this is going to be a completely separate video, is going to be when I do the bow reherring. So I've got the nice bow hair all set here, and just gonna well, I don't know how much I'll show. I'm kind of going to be embarrassed to be coming at this after many years of having been away from bow rehearing, but I think the skill's going to come right back. I've got quite a bit of confidence. So. All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping by Old Fiddle's New Life, and hope you've enjoyed this, refurbishing a little quarter-size violin for my grandson, Nathan, to use, and I hope that he does, and I hope he enjoys it, and I hope he learns. Going to be a good little instrument for him. So thanks for stopping by. Okay, here's one last thing we're going to add to this video on the little quarter size. I got out some, I'm an artist. Anybody that's interested can go to my website. It's Randall Gardner, American Realist. But anyway, I got out some burnt sienna, and it is a dead ringer for this color of instrument. And I've already taken those chippy areas and used a little paintbrush and doctored it in there. And now the only thing I'm going to do to finish this up, and by the way, there's more chips on this instrument. I'm just hit the ones that are just really obvious. There's a little over on this corner, and a whole bunch of chips right in here, probably from where the student was banging the edge of his bow. But anyway, I hit that with a little burnt sienna, and I'm just going to doctor this up with some clear urethane. I never use this on a regular violin, okay? This is just a cheapy little Chinese quarter size for students. And so just to seal that up where I've already color corrected it, I'm going to use some Minwax polyurethane clear gloss, because this is a very glossy, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, very glossy finish. Anyway, yeah, like I said, you don't do that on a regular violin, but for this one, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So, all right, I'm going to just go ahead and use a little old paintbrush I'm not going to use anymore, and fill that in with some clear gloss, and let it dry and be done. And we'll take one more picture of it, and we'll add this into the video. Thanks. Okay, I've already varnished this. The key on this kind of thing is when you do a repair varnish like this, go ahead and make sure it covers the areas that you have that were damaged, but then don't let it pool or get on the surface of the old original varnish. And so just take your finger and just gently just kind of blend it out, so that all you're mainly covering is only the affected area. And then when you're all done and everything polishes out, you'll never be able to tell. Well, you will, because I mean that's damaged wood there. But I mean, at least right now, that's been color corrected to pretty much be the original color and intensity of the original varnish. And then covered with the varnish, it'll blend very nicely. And like I said, for a student instrument, this is good enough. And hey, I'll tell you what, it's probably a better treatment than it would have gotten from other people. It's because it's mine, because I'm going to be giving it to loaning it to my grandson to use. I kind of wanted to fix it up and make it look nice. All right, guys, well, that's it for this time. Thanks for stopping by Old Fiddle's New Life and joining with me in this getting a little quarter-size violin back up and running, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time around. Take care.